Okay, students, this portion of our art project is going to be painting it using watercolors. Now, today we're using pan watercolors, and these will need to be hydrated first with a little bit of water so that we get it nice and soft. So before we begin any further, let's go ahead and hydrate the two colors that we're going to be using today. Now, those are going to be blue and black. Using our water, we're just going to pick it up with our paintbrush and just simply kind of just pat it over it. Go back to your water, pick up some more, add a little bit more. I like to do blue first because the black, of course, is going to kind of overtake it. And then the same thing is true here on our black. Now, we just gently drag the paintbrush across the paint. You don't want to dig it in there or smash your paintbrush into your paint palette. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and rinse my brush off. I'm going to set it aside for a second. And we're going to talk about watercolor techniques. When you are using watercolor, there are two types of techniques that we primarily use. Those are wet on dry, which simply means wet paint placed onto dry paper. The second technique is called wet on wet. It's where we're going to take our paintbrush, we use it to pick up the water, and we're going to kind of just start putting it across the areas that we want to paint. This is called conditioning the paper. We're just going to simply let it just seep in there. And we're going to do just this on our KT boundary that we're going to be painting today. Now, when you condition the paper with water prior to adding your watercolor paint, you're going to have a technique that doesn't allow you to see as many brush strokes. It'll all just gently kind of just blend in together. Notice I'm just dragging my paintbrush through here very quickly, adding some water. Now, once you have your paper conditioned, let's go back and visit our paints that have been softening here. This little palette, this little top of our paint holder is a place that we can create our different custom colors. The color we're going to be wanting today for our KT boundary is going to be using blue and primarily black. So it's like a dark, smoky, grayish blue color. First, we're going to pick up a little water and kind of dab it there in our palette. Then we're just going to drag a little bit of that blue and add it in there. You'll probably want to do at least 3 or 4 of these little brush strokes. Then we're going to rinse our paintbrush, pick up a little bit more water actually. Now we're going to go to our black. And I would do like 8 of these. So you're going to just brush your brush in there. 1, 2. The more you kind of do it and the softer it gets, it's going to pick up more of that paint pigment. I'm doing several. I want it to be darker black than I do blue. Now, at this point, we're going to blend these little colors together. Just use your brush. You're going to swirl them together. Just like that. Now, you're going to have to mix this color a couple of times as you go through the process of painting your KT boundary, which is this area of our picture and this area. Now, our water has conditioned the paper a little bit, so we're just going to pick up a little bit more water, go to our paint pigment, and then starting to apply it. And you're just going to quickly move it around. Remember, we're pulling our paintbrush. We're not pushing it. We are not dragging it or smashing it. Now notice how I'm just painting over our contour lines. And I'm also painting over our crinoids that we have drawn in here. We are going to have a different technique that we are going to use to finish those out. Now, continue on with this process. Again, when you get to this side of your KT boundary, make sure that you're putting your water on first. It doesn't matter if it's got a little bit of that color in there now. Again, you're adding basically the same color. And again, you're using just a little bit of blue and a little bit of black and adding some water to that and blending those together. When you are finished by the end of class, it's going to basically look like this. So that is your wet on wet technique. Enjoy.